Express. It's Rotus with us this morning. It's Omas and Zibby, of course.
Good morning, Rotus.
Hey, good morning, Zibby. Good morning, Omas. Good morning to everybody out there. Hope you all are doing well.
We're doing well.
We're trying.
Better than you, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Let's compare notes.
Rotus, did you have a good night's sleep?
No, sleep is, I mean, look, when with the kind of hours that we carry here, the sleep is very rare. We hope we have more sleep in 2024. We hope to have
more.
Sleep. Exactly.
Let's go Shakespearean.
Exactly.
Or Macbeth, right?
Macbeth.
Okay.
It was Macbeth. Exactly.
All right, let's go straight in, Omas.
So, Rotus, the tray is heavy for us this morning, so let's dig into it. Let's begin with this article here by this online news platform saying U.S. SEC charges Tingo CEO Dozy Mmobuosi with massive fraud. So that leads us to the question, who is he?
Yeah, he's an entrepreneur. I think calls himself a billionaire. Tingo Group is a fintech company that apparently claimed to have unicorn status, being worth over $1 billion. It has subsidiaries that include a company called Tingo Mobile that claims to have 9 million users that are mostly farmers. They say they provided them with mobile phones and devices to allow them to carry out their farming. And so, yeah, that's the company essentially. It also has another agri group or an agri-business subsidiary as well. And they've been on the scene for not too long. But you know, them coming out and claiming unicorn status did cause me to raise my eyebrows a bit. And so that is the company, and he's been in the media quite a bit, saying he's going to start a foundation. I think he started a sports club in Nigeria in the second tier of the Nigerian Premier League or so. So yeah, he's a character that's out there.
Okay, so how did we arrive at this charge from the SEC?
Yeah, so back in June, a short seller called Hindenburg Research put out a report on Tingo, saying that the company is a fraud, that it's inflating its assets, and basically engaging in just a PR to make it look bigger than it is. Hindenburg is a short seller. So what short sellers do is they make bets against companies. So they bet on their shares falling, and they sometimes support it with research. So I think the company at the time was valued at about $400 million or so. The shares fell by about 60%, but they really did do some extensive research on the company. The Financial Times visited their Lagos and Dubai offices. They're very scarcely populated. The CFO at the time had trouble even answering basic questions. Hindenburg also said that the company doesn't even have a mobile license, where it's claiming because it has a Tingo mobile subsidiary. So it was a really explosive report. The company never really responded to that report, but the US SEC has been following up since then, and has now come out with this charge saying that the company has engaged in actually, these are the words of the SEC, massive fraud to inflate its assets. I think there was even there was one part of the report where I think they claimed to have, was it their assets were, or was it income of 430, about $200 million or so, and the SEC said it wasn't more than $50. I have to check and make sure that I have that amount correctly, but that's the gist of it.
Now, for the SEC too, that's just for clarification, that's Security and Exchange Commission in the US. Are we on the same page?
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so for them to have come up with this, and then it's coming off of the back of Deloitte's issuing a clean audit for them. So what's Deloitte saying about this?
Deloitte hasn't made any comments. It was their Israeli arm that apparently conducted an audit of Tingo. Hindenburg said that either Deloitte didn't pay attention to what they were doing, or they rushed the process. there's been no comments from Deloitte. But essentially, this again puts audit companies under the microscope, saying that you guys are, you need to do your jobs when it comes, because that's your job. It's just to audit these companies and make sure that people know exactly what is going on under the hood. So no comments yet from the folks, the Israeli arm of Deloitte at this point.
So let me quickly throw this in. You had alluded to the fact that there's a second-tier company, football club linked to Mmobuosi in Nigeria. So this links us back to the UK now, where it is said that Dozy Mmobuosi made a bid for Sheffield United. How true is this assertion?
Yeah, he did. In fact, that's what I guess drew some attention to him. The bid didn't go through. But it reminds me of I don't know if you remember the movie American Gangster with Denzel Washington. There's a scene, he's playing the drug dealer Frank White. Is that his? No, Frank Lucas. And Lucas had been under the radar for a while until he showed up at a I think it was a boxing match that he showed up at. I can't remember if it was Ali or one of that boxers though. And he showed up in a chinchilla coat that was worth $100,000. And then he had his seats at the boxing match were better than Diana Ross and Frank Sinatra and some other people that were there. And so there were people from I think it was some US law enforcement that noticed, who is this guy that has better seats than big celebrities we know and is wearing a fur coat, which at that time was worth $100,000. So that's how he alerted authorities, and all of a sudden they started investigating him. So this audacious bid for Sheffield United kind of brought people to like, okay, who is this guy, and so on and so forth. And then, apparently he has another club here in Nigeria, something 1472, I think Lagos 1472, and a club in the second division here as well. So he's been making news in sports, charity, and all this stuff. But yeah, no comment from him so far on these charges from the SEC.
All right, let us know what your thoughts are. The WhatsApp number is 0809 444 0981. And you can also tweet at Smooth981. We're streaming live on YouTube as well. It's Smooth981 on YouTube. Now, this is something that Omas and I speak about, Nigeria's global image, right? And with this situation with Dozy, what does this do to the image of up-and-coming business people from Nigeria on the international stage?
Well, it doesn't help. I mean, we still have established names that are worldwide, the Dangotes, the Tony Elumelus, or Tedolas, and so on. These guys are running legitimate businesses, and they're all, that's good. So for this, what just happens is the next person Nigerian claiming to be a billionaire that makes a bid for a club or tries to make a splash, folks would probably just, pause to see whether or not this person is legitimate. And now, again, these are allegations, I should point out, that from the SEC and so on. He hasn't been convicted of anything, but the signs are not good, and it definitely doesn't help for anybody who is up and coming and wants to announce themselves on the scene. Again, it doesn't help Nigeria's image, because the news is everywhere now. It's on the Financial Times. I think it's all over the international news. It's not just, I think it was Tech Cabal that in Nigeria, and they're a really big platform that reported it. But now the Financial Times has picked it up. It's likely that the Bloombergs, the CNNs, the BBCs, and all the other major international platforms will carry the news as it continues, and the SEC's investigation will, carry on. So it doesn't end here. There's going to be more on this as things unfold, especially going into 2024.
Maybe it's time for that unknown wealth order to be signed in Nigeria, perhaps.
Exactly.
Let's go on to the WhatsApp messages. Gwenga says, keeping a low profile is good for business. Well, Frank Lucas learned that the hard way. And Fine Oluboroko says, if you ask me, I think this is racism. Where was this audit firm when major banks were filing for bankruptcy or were just failing? Okay.
So, Rotus, before we drift on to the next item, but this is again, like you said, it's still allegation. But again, why is this? I have a taste of the Invictus all over again. If this happens.
Yeah. Well, look, Omas, it's just be legitimate, be legitimate, be clean. Don't try to go too big too fast, because then it just unravels things that end up not looking too good. And look, from the day I first heard of this company, I have a private WhatsApp group where we talk about stocks, business. When we all first heard the company, I was calling itself a unicorn. We're like, which company is this? What do they do? And we're all suspicious.
Just to clarify, unicorn company.
Oh, a unicorn is worth $1 billion.
Okay.
So you don't just come out and claim you are worth $1 billion out of nowhere. You've got to have been doing the work for some time, building your valuations and so on. People have to be investing in you. That's how it works. You don't get to a valuation unless Omas, Zibby, Benga, Kamu, Yinka, people have been investing in private investment rounds that build up your valuation based on what it is that you do. So the way it should have happened is that over the past few years, we should have heard, oh, Tingo raised this amount from these investors, and they raised this amount, and they raised this amount, and they're announcing this and another. So it takes time before you now arrive at this massive value. But for just come out and be at $1 billion already and be claiming unicorn style and all these other things, it's a bit troubling.
And the final one on your trade. Let's go back to Tayo's message first. If it's too big to fail, then it is too big to exist. Book cooking needs to be checkmated. Auditors give assurance to financial reports. They are not necessarily investigators. It is what the company gives that they will use, but auditors have to be thorough in their audit work. That's what Tayo sent to us. Final one now. It seems the Gulf where oil goes through is becoming very risky with the Houthi rebels around that area. So the US announcing international task force to protect ships in the Red Sea from Houthi strikes. That links us to oil. The price has jumped up because of activities in the Red Sea. So speak to us on this as we wrap up the show this morning.
No, it's just, look, it's about taking security threats seriously. The US is not playing. They have an election next year. The last thing Joe Biden needs is for oil prices to spike, which would make buying fuel in America more expensive and could hurt his election chances. So they've been happy that oil has been falling. And so with this latest, I think these Houthi rebels or Houthi militants are backed by Iran. They've been targeting, because of the Israel-Gaza thing, they've been targeting ships around the Suez Canal, which I think passes through Egypt. It's led some big vessels run by massive freight companies to say they're going to stop traveling through there. Some oil shipments go through there. Oil has now started rising. So quick, they just not just the US, I think France and a couple other nations, they have now dispatched ships to that area to combat those rebels. So, I think about oil theft in Nigeria. I think about all these other security issues. When countries are serious about ending a threat, they will end. I think about sit-at-home things in this southeast of Nigeria. All these nonsensical things that, come up and pop up, and somehow the government acts like they are powerless to stop these things. You're not. You've got the power and the might to crush these types of things that pop up. And that's what the US and its allies are demonstrating right now. They will not tolerate any ships being attacked by rebels. So as we speak, they're dispatching naval vessels out there, and they'll crush this thing, or at least they hope to. So we'll follow the events as they unfold. But you got to take security threats seriously. That's the message there.
All right, that is it for Business Express this morning. Yinka Bolu with the final message says, what Tayo said, the messed up thing about audits is it's like garbage in, garbage out. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for your messages. And of course, thank you, Rotus, for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Zibby. Thank you, Omas. Thanks for all the messages. Catch you guys tomorrow.